Hello everyone, hope you all are fine. Today we are going to see one important lesson named life processes. In this lesson we are going to see four important process called, first one is nutrition, second is respiration, third one is transportation, and finally excretion. Before going into these process, first let me explain what life processes is. If you see around us, we can see many living organisms as well as non-living organisms. Although there are many differences between living organism and non-living organisms, the major difference between these two is non-living organisms do not perform any function or they do not undergo any process. But we living organisms undergo many processes such as this nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion. So, the process which help in undergoing metabolic functions like this nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion. This is called as life processes. Okay. So, now we are going to see first topic, nutrition. I said the process which helps to undergo metabolic activities are called as life processes. To perform that metabolic activities, we need energy. How do we obtain energy? Basically through food, right? So, the process of obtaining energy through food is called as nutrition. Process of obtaining energy through food is called as nutrition. Basically, there are two types of nutrition. One is autotrophic nutrition and the other is heterotrophic nutrition. Let me explain you what autotrophic nutrition is. Those organisms which obtain energy from inorganic substances. Inorganic substances are nothing but for example sunlight, air, water, those are inorganic substances. So, those organisms which obtain energy from inorganic substances are called as autotrophic organisms, and those organisms undergo autotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrients are nothing but those organisms which depend on these autotrophic organisms. Are called as heterotrophic organisms, and the heterotrophic organisms undergo nutrition called as heterotrophic nutrition. So, the example of autotrophs are plants and some bacteria, whereas examples of heterotrophic nutrition includes human, animals and fungi. First, let us clearly understand how plants undergo autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition in plants undergo an important process called as photosynthesis. the process in which carbon dioxide and water react in the presence of light energy and chlorophyll to give glucose are called as photosynthesis. I have already told you autotrophic nutrition is nothing but this undergoes with the help of inorganic substances. Let me explain what are the inorganic substances involved in photosynthesis which are taken by plants. The first raw material required for photosynthesis are sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. All these three are the inorganic substances which are very essential to undergo photosynthesis. If you see the plant over here, this plant absorbs light energy from sunlight and it absorbs carbon dioxide from the air surrounded in it, and it absorbs water through the roots which will be under the soil. So, sunlight will be absorbed by leaves of the plant and carbon dioxide from the air and water under the soil. Okay. Now, this carbon dioxide is absorbed from the air. Okay. From the air it absorbs through the leaves. In the leaves you will be having tiny pores inside the leaves, that is called as stomata. These tiny pores are called as stomata. This stomata inhales carbon dioxide from the air and it exhales water. This is why you can see some water droplets on the leaves when you see on early morning days. Okay, but this carbon dioxide will not be absorbed all the time by the stomata. For this regulation, we are having guard cell inside the stomata which will regulate when the stomatal pore to open and when the stomatal pore to close. So, when the stomatal pore is open, the stomata inhales all the carbon dioxide from the air, and when it is closed, it exhales water. So, these are the components of the stomata. One is the guard cell which help in the opening and closure of stomatal pore, and we have the centropod nucleus, then chloroplast and the subsidiary cells. This chloroplast is very helpful for performing two functions called, one is a light reaction and the dark reaction which takes place during the process of photosynthesis. Both these takes place inside the chloroplast of the cell. Now, if you see here, this is the structure of chloroplast, and here you have outer membrane, inner membrane. The space between outer membrane and inner membrane is called as intermembrane space, and here we have stroma, which is the aqueous fluid, and this is thylakoid, This group of thylakoids are called as granum, and here we have lamella, and this is the lumen. Now if you see, the light reaction takes place in the thylakoid of chloroplast, whereas a dark reaction takes place in stroma of chloroplast, which is nothing but, I have already told you, it is aqueous fluid. Now before going into the process of light reaction and dark reaction, let me explain you what are the energy carriers in this light reaction and dark reaction. Energy carriers. In general, for photosynthesis, the first one is ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. This will break down into ADP, that is adenosine diphosphate plus phosphate, which will give you energy. See, this adenosine triphosphate is nothing but 3 molecules of phosphate, which will give you 2 molecules of phosphate named as adenosine diphosphate, and here we have 1 more phosphate plus energy, right? The second energy carrier is NADP, nicodamine diphosphate, which will give you on breakdown NADPH plus energy, right? So ATP and NADP, these two are the energy carriers of photosynthesis. Now let me explain what is light reaction and dark reaction. As the name suggests, light reaction takes place only in the presence of light. In the presence of light, we get light energy, which is converted into chemical energy with energy carriers. Already I have told you, that is ATP plus NAD. Okay. In light reaction, the plants do not prepare food, but we get energy to prepare food. Okay. Now this energy is transferred here to the dark reaction. On getting this energy molecule, the carbohydrate is prepared with carbon dioxide. This is the reaction which I have already told you, that 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives you C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. So the carbon dioxide in the air and the energy from the light reaction combines together to give you glucose, which is the food for plants. This glucose is utilized by the plants as a food, but if it wants later, it is stored in the form of starch in the plants. So in the light reaction, we get only the energy to prepare food, and the food is prepared only in the dark reaction. This dark reaction takes place either with the presence of sunlight or even in the absence of sunlight. But whereas in a light reaction, it happens only in the presence of light. I hope you are clear in it. Now let me demonstrate your experiment so that will be clear. First, I have already told you sunlight is essential for photosynthesis. And chlorophyll. This chlorophyll is a pigment which is present in chloroplast. Okay, it is present in chloroplast, and this is also very essential for photosynthesis, and carbon dioxide and water. You can take two potted plant. One you can keep open in the sunlight, and one in the dark room. If you leave it like this, the same for 3 days, and after 3 days, if you take one leaf from the plant which is open to sunlight and one leaf from the plant which is in the dark room, and if you pour iodine solution into it, both the leaves of the plant, you will observe the leaves which was taken from open to sunlight plant will be blue-black in color. So this proves that these are all the essential particles of photosynthesis. Okay. That's all for photosynthesis. Next we are going to see heterotrophic nutrition. In the beginning itself, I have told you heterotrophic organisms are nothing but those which depends on autotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic organisms are called as heterotrophic organisms, and those heterotrophic organisms undergo nutrition process called heterotrophic nutrition. In this, we have both unicellular and multicellular organisms. For unicellular, I am taking example as amoeba, and for multicellular organism, I am taking the human. Okay. First, let us consider amoeba. In amoeba, if this is amoeba, here we have food molecule and the cytoplasm. Like this. If this is amoeba, this is the pseudopodia, which is the body surface. If amoeba have to capture a food, it just moves and extends its body surface, and it just captures the food. So the food in amoeba is taken by the body surface itself, right? It just moves and it captures the food. So the body surface here, it is called as pseudopodia in amoeba. Now if we take multicellular organism, that is we human, how do we take food? And the process that is explained by digestion. Digestion is nothing but in which complex food molecules are broken down into simpler food, and the waste materials are excreted in it. Let me give you some clear explanation of digestion. The food we eat is first entered into the mouth. In mouth, we have saliva. This saliva contains enzyme called, inside the saliva we have enzyme called amylase. This amylase breaks down carbohydrate food, that is complex carbohydrate food. For example, starch into simpler carbohydrate, for example, maltose. So, in the saliva, the complex carbohydrate food is broken down into simpler carbohydrate food called maltose. Later, the food enters into the esophagus. Esophagus is nothing but food pipe, and it just travels through it, and here we have stomach. Inside the stomach, we have HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. In the stomach, as you all know, we have hydrochloric acid. In addition to hydrochloric acid, you will have two enzymes called pepsin and renin. These two enzymes acts on the food when it enters into the stomach. This pepsin breaks down proteins into simpler form, whereas renin breaks down milk particles into its simpler form. In addition to that, we have another one called as lipase. As you all know, the name lipid is otherwise called as fat molecules. This lipase enzyme also reduces complex fat molecules into simpler fat molecules. So, till now, in the saliva itself, carbohydrate molecule is broken down with the help of enzyme amylase, and when the food travels through the esophagus and if it reaches the stomach, for breakdown of protein we have pepsin, for breakdown of milk we have renin, for breakdown of fat molecules we have lipase. Okay, now everything is broken down into simpler form. Now if you come here, after the stomach, the food reaches into the small intestine. In the small intestine, you have three parts inside the small intestine. You see here. The small intestine has three parts, namely duodenum, jejunum and ileum. Now the food enters into the first part of duodenum. If you see here, this is the small intestine, and here in the first part it is the duodenum. If the food enters here, the liver, you can see upper side of the small intestine you have liver, in that which you have bile duct. In the bile duct, this secretes an enzyme called bile juice. This bile juice helps to extend the, see, if you consider this is as a small intestine, if the food enters into it, the bile juice secreted will help in easier emulsification of food, and later the food reaches here, and here if you have pancreas, and the pancreas secretes an enzyme called pancreatic juices plus enzymes called trypsin, which later break down the food molecules into more smaller, and the food now reaches jejunum and then it reaches ileum. Okay. Now the food is in ileum. In the ileum, the small intestine will be very narrow, and to make it somewhat broader, you are having inside ileum finger-like projections. These finger-like projections are nothing but you may have like this. If this is the ileum, you will be having like this. This is finger-like projection, which is nothing but villi. Okay, this helps in broadening the smaller intestine so that the food can easily transfer. Okay, now after the small intestine, the food reaches larger intestine. Okay. Now this is the smaller intestine. After this, the food enters into the large intestine, and here the food breaks down into solid and water molecules. See, for example, this is solid and this is water. In the larger intestine, the food splits up into solid and water molecules. Here, the water molecules just transfer into urethra, and then it is excreted in the form of urine, whereas the solid materials are stored in rectum and later it is excreted. Okay. This is the process of digestion. So, as a whole, the nutrition process in autotrophic nutrition, it takes place in the form of photosynthesis, and heterotrophic nutrition for unicellular organism, it takes place through body surface, and whereas in multicellular organism, it is through digestion. Let me give you one additional